This is World Building Ramona, Vial of the Milkwater. Oh, Ramona, Vial of the Milkwater. What a title. Hello and welcome, fellow adventurers. This is World Building Essentials and Exercises. I'm Lewis Nichols, and today we're continuing our discussion of dragons. The Milkwater is a forested swamp of about 1,000 square miles. That's the size of an average county in Oklahoma, USA. It's about twice as big as the London metro area. It's big enough for large herds of swamp deer, crocodiles by the thousands, and enough birds to chirp you for life. It's full of old, creepy ruins, wandering monsters, and over a dozen species of frogs. There's a snake named Obo. He's 50 feet long, and an ancient owl that communes with a very important god, but he doesn't brag about it. It's hot and just a little bit temperate. Summer weather can get into the 90s, and that's a lot when the humidity is so high that you can leave out a glass of water on Monday and it hasn't even half evaporated by Friday. Winters dip down into the 60s, and the wind actually makes it feel a little bit cool. Storms are a weekly event, but spring can make them dangerous, full of lightning and bad intentions. For us, the swamp is important because Ramona lives here. Ramona is an adult green dragon, 1/4 black, just to make things interesting. For this reason, she's a little bit custom, but that's not the only thing that's going to make her special. She's very close to ancient, so she has a few perks. Also, just the benefits of being this old means that she's picked up some bonuses over the centuries. Monsters like Ramona deserve our love. Adult dragons shouldn't just be stat blocks for the players to hack at. Ramona has 3 children, all living within 1,000 miles of the swamp. She speaks to them weekly via telepathy. She has 8 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. It's well known that she will take offense if her family is harmed. That leads us to our first, and I believe only tangent. Set expectations. In many games, killing a dragon is just part of the business of adventuring. However, the way I envision this scenario that we're building is contrary to that notion. If the party is adventuring, they might very well find a young, adult green dragon working with a smuggling guild. It's not fair to have the party defeat their enemies only to be slaughtered in turn by Ramona. However, if the party is fully aware dragons often have strong family ties and they kill the dragon anyway, well, that's a choice. Does this make dragons untouchable? That is up to you, of course. But if dragons are a major part of your world building, they do gain an extra layer of protection. In my primary setting, the death of a dragon like this might go to a council decision. Most likely, in this case, the dragons would declare that this was a case of the circumstances of adventuring. That dragon did not have to make himself a target by joining and leading an entire guild of smugglers. Retaliation would not be justified. Then the tables are turned. If Ramona pursues vengeance, she loses her shield of protection, and there's a lot of high-level parties that will take an interest in her and her hoarded treasure. Alright, let's talk about some character sheet stuff. For the most part, we're going with the 2024 rule set out of the Monster Manual with some homebrew additions. Ramona has 317 hit points. The extra hit points are her biggest perk from closing in on ancient status. She is plus 11 to her initiative rolls per book. However, to be honest, I usually don't roll for initiative for major monsters. She's probably just going to go second or third in the initiative order. Her AC is 20, due to a plus 1 protection item, which also affects her saving throws. She is immune to poison and can become resistant to acid as a reaction because of her 1/4 black ancestry. She's got all the usual stuff, so I won't go into too much detail. It's just for the sake of avoiding redundancy. Her legendary resistance counts as 4 as long as she is within her swamp. Outside the swamp, it's 3. She gets 3 rend attacks per round and can sub one of these for a level 3 Mind Spike. Her rend is plus 11 on the attack and 22 damage, part of that being poison. I do max damage on crits, so that would be 34. Mind Spike is a range of 120 feet for 4d8 psychic, so an average is going to be around 20. And you get a save for half at DC 17. In addition, on a failed save, the caster basically keeps a lock on your location for an hour in exchange for concentration. What it comes down to is you're going to be doing about 50 points of damage per round with some flexibility on how you do it. Her breath is 56, save for half. So she needs to make sure that she is hitting 2 targets to make it worth it. Mind you, the dragon is going to watch out for fighters with shields and make note of any resistances. Breath weapons are highly effective if you're hitting 2 or more targets, and if you have at least a 30% chance of them taking full damage. Don't forget how smart dragons are. If she gets involved in a fight and finds out that her opponents are protected from poison, she's going to fly away for a while, maybe let that resistance wear off. She's going to re-engage in an hour or so, and maybe just go physical attacks, because those are pretty good anyway. In way of legendary actions, Noxious Miasma and Pounce they're pretty weak. But an extra 50 points of damage output from Mind Spikes? Well, that seems pretty good. Now, does she get anything else? Why, yes, thank you for asking. Ramona safeguards a number of tomes for Gik, the god of artificers. She's looked over these books for centuries and has been granted an automaton familiar. This little guy is a walking ballista. Ramona may use a bonus action to have it fire on a target once per turn. It uses her bonuses and does 3d6 plus 6 piercing damage on a hit. Gik has also strengthened her wings, effectively giving her the Shield Master feat. The most important result is that she can use a reaction to fully block any damage from Dex Save AoE spells, if she makes her save. And yes, she can also use the feat to knock opponents into the pools of water around her home. At the edge of the swamp is the town of Revancore. This settlement numbers around 2,000 residents and does fairly well for itself. It exports peat, reeds, and alchemical goods from the swamp. It has a strong agricultural base and some forestry going on. It's part of the Wharton Confederacy, but it's a special district. It's special because of the dragon that lives nearby. Revancore pays a hefty tax to Ramona. Why? Well, because she's a dragon, and she asks nicely. She has an agreement with the Wharton Confederacy that waive most of Revancore's taxes to the central government in exchange for security guarantees from her. She keeps a few nearby trade routes safe and responds to potential threats. She even once fought in a full-blown war, supporting the Confederacy against an aggressive neighbor. The populace of Revancore often debates over what kind of deal they're stuck with. Is it helpful or harmful? She doesn't demand the town turn over villagers for consumption. On the other hand, her version of justice sometimes carries a certain amount of collateral damage. The Dragonborn in town are completely loyal and can get away with just about anything. They were the result of what was supposed to be a curse when she betrayed Tiamat, standing against some mass unaliving plans on behalf of the Devil Queen demigod. For the betrayal, a generation of children in Revancore was conceived as Dragonborn. It succeeded in turning public opinion against Ramona, but she never really cared about that anyway. Ramona has adopted the Dragonborn as a favored class and showers them with favors and affection whenever she can. 3 generations later, some of them serve as her personal attendants, and she's formed an elite band of heavy infantry from their ranks. How long can a dragon like Ramona stay in power? She's in the open, holding off hungry heroes by threats alone. There are teams who could challenge her. Somewhere in the swamp, she has at least hundreds of thousands in hidden wealth. She owns valuable pieces of art, hidden knowledge, and magical devices. She's not complacent, making investments in alchemical production. Recently, she has started making plans for establishing an artificer's workshop in Revancore. A lot of that profit goes into her own defenses. It's unclear who would show up and who would expect to be paid for defending her, but it's likely to be a significant list. Every year now, she grows stronger as she moves into the last phase of her life. It's hard for a hunting party to gauge her strength. Would the god Gik take offense or even send help? The odds change significantly if a pair of iron golems just show up and join the fight. And how would her family respond? How quickly could they get there? What about the Confederacy? There's got to be Imperial troops around, ready to back up one of their strongest military assets. I've said it before, and I will say it again. I'm not against players versus dragon play. But there needs to be consequences. These are major foes. There needs to be some reconnaissance done, some planning, maybe several pre-adventures before the attempt on the dragon's life and her hoard. This is why the treasure hauls can be life-changing. A party might find more raw gold in a hoard than they've collected in years of previous adventuring. They might find tomes that give them free skills. They might also find themselves with a great many enemies they did not have before. I'm not going to tell you how to run your game. I'm just here to inspire some thoughts. If I've done that, please subscribe, leave a comment, tell your friends I exist. You are all important to this world, and I hope that you are all living your best life. Have a great rest of the day. Cheers.